what I'm going to talk about is using the VPN and how the home computer can be a threat for the internal systems, and especially when we are using some maybe not corporate device, but we will just create a new VPN connection on our computer, so someone will start using it for work. Still, this device might be already infected, or maybe there is another device that was already previously infected, and this is maybe your child computer or something like that. Then you can expect someone to be able to connect from our computer that's connected to the VPN to get to the inside of the network and scan it or perform some other attacks. So let me show you my desktop, and let's go with the presentation of the attack. So let me just present the scene of the environment that I'm going to use. So first of all, I have my domain controller, of course, on which there is one service running at this moment. Of course, do not do it in the domain controller environment on the domain controller, but use separate server. This is only for demo purpose. So I have here two interface in the network interface adapter, and one is the corporate network. This is 10.10.0 to 24 bytes of the mask, and also the Ethernet one, which is simulating the internet. Of course, this is my private IP pool, and this is only for the demonstration, but normally this would be the internet access. Inside, I have the server. On the server, you will see soon enough that there is a web server available, and is presenting some resources to us. Right now, I'm on the client computer. This client computer, if we look into the ipconfig, then we will see that this is the network connected only to the something that is simulating our internet connection. This is not a local to our corporate network. There is nothing about 10.10.10. If I try to ping, for example, 10.10.10.20, which is my server, I get a general failure of the transmission. This is because my VPN is not yet established. If I connect to the work, okay, very simply connected. I already have a saved password. You should not save passwords there in general, but for this purpose, I just saved it there to make it faster. If I do the ping right now, you see the responses are coming back, so my server is up and running. Let's try to see if something is there. HTTP, and this is my JBoss server. Quite a legacy application, but from the perspective of our penetration testing, we see a lot of legacy servers running somewhere around in the network. So this might be a possible vector of attacks for this attack. So another thing is that I have my Kali Linux configuration here, and if you look at this one, you do not see a network with the 10. So in general, it's not possible for me to do that. For example, ping 10.10.10.20, nothing network unreachable. The same will be with the nmap scan. It will show that there is no possibility to scan this device. Why I'm using this IP address, attacker will not know it, but there are possibilities to do it, this scan, when I will compromise, of course, the Windows 10 machine. Auto showed you the vector of attack possible there. I will just follow this with a slightly different payload. As you can see, I'm using the Metasploit console. This is perfect for the demonstration purposes, but if the attacker would try to use this one, and the antivirus will just detect all of those payloads without any troubles. So basically, it's only used for the demonstration purpose. I'm just loading the payload here and also setting up what is the IP address of my local host, and then continuing with the setting up the port on which I will be listening, and then of course exploiting the vulnerability, or rather not vulnerability, but let's say something is already running on the my server, on my client, and probably I will need to wait here for 10, maybe 15 seconds. Oh, perfect, it's something showing up because the system was already infected. The system is with the malware running on it, and the system is giving me the reverse shell. So it's giving me connection from Windows 10 to my command and control system. And this might be a part of the larger botnet. the largest botnet that are known, has like hundreds of thousands of the computers all over the world that are infected, and no one knows that they are infected there, and just waiting for the commands from external sources. So right now, if I type the sessions, I will see that there is a session number 1. So I will just use the session number 1 and connect to this session to start interacting with. Let's go with the shell. This is very similar. So who am I? It's showing me that this is Mike on the remote server, but ipconfig will show me that this is the also the server which has a connectivity to this network. So if I just use the ping 10, 10, 10, 20, it will show there is a perfect working ping. One more thing which I will present right now, but I will discuss it a little bit later and explain how it's possible. So let me just go to the tools folder, and from the tools, if you can see here, there's OVPN. So first PowerShell, and going inside of this and running really the OVPN PS1. This is presenting me some passwords. As you can guess, probably this is the OpenVPN passwords, which are recovered from the saved password configuration on the Windows 10. How it's done, I will explain that later on when it's the time for working with the Windows 10. So getting out of the PowerShell, getting out to my Metaparator here, and setting the session in the background. So the session still exists, sessions. Let's see, it's still valid, so I still have connection between my Kali Linux and my Windows 10 machine. Okay, what can I do next? I can just simply add the route. So route, or maybe I will just move it up to find the command that, because it's faster than typing. Then 10, 10, 10, 0, this is the network with 24 bits mask. And number 1 is not the interface, but this is the session that we have on the Metaparator running currently. Okay. That's almost everything that I need to use. The last part is that I need to use the second module. This time it will be auxiliary, and this will be the proxy server. Just showing the options. And let's see, it's a server port 1080. On the server port 1080, so this is my local port. It will be listening a proxy. So next, what I need to do is just run. It's running the proxy. Last part is Vim and going into the etc and proxy chains to verify that there is already a configuration for my local host and the proxy on the 1080. So if I execute some commands with the proxy chains, like for example this ping, sorry, not ping, but nmap, then it will start scanning all those ports through my proxy chains. As you can see, there is a port 8080, but also other ports available like 3389. And this is, of course, the scanning, which is taking a lot of time. So normally you will need to wait for it quite a long to get some results. Okay, so let me stop this one. Maybe I will use proxy chains, but this time with the Firefox to verify that I can just simply go and use the compromise system that has the VPN to get inside of your network. And let's go with HTTP, JBoss, sorry, not JBoss, it's 10.10, 8080, and getting to my JBoss server really through the IP address that I even don't see on the networks inside of my location. This is using the proxy chains through the Windows 10 machine and getting into the corporate network. What else? If you have a system that is infected, of course, remember that's quite natural thing is to have some ransomwares and get to, for example, the SRP. And this will take some time, but at the moment it will show the shares that are available inside of the system. At the same moment, I will show you that there is an OpenVPN. So in this is the perfect share. And of course, remember that this share will be available with the credentials of the user, of course, and if the user will get on this infected machine, the ransomware, it will also attack the file systems that are there available through the VPN. So let's go with the OpenVPN. If I choose any connection, for example, new VPN, then it will start connecting because I'm using bad practices of saving the passwords. Maybe the passwords are stored in a correct way or like protected in some way. So disconnect. And let me see it. First of all, the passwords might be stored inside of the registry or in some files. In this case, in case of the OpenVPN, the passwords are stored on the registry. So let's see how they look like. So this is the HKCU, so current user, software, OpenVPN, configs, and new VPN. One of the information is there's authentication data. If I open the authentication data, I will see this very not nicely looking string. Of course, those are the access, and on the right side, you have the interpretation industry. But if you have been doing so much work as we do, and as Paul already mentioned, that we are on the team that we know that completely reverse engineered data protection API, this is what you see and already understand. This is data protection API blob. So what can we do with it? First of all, of course, we can just simply export it to some blob file in the tools, and let's do that. Okay, see, there is a folder here, and in the folder there is this blob2 data. What can I do? We have plenty of tools which we are sharing with you after this presentation, and one of those is the CQURE Data API Blob Searcher, one of my favorite ones, which is giving me possibility to search for the data protection API blobs. So I'm looking in the in directory and getting the output into the out directory. So the password is really, or the VPN is really protected with the advanced encryption standard 256 SHA-512. So this is the possibility to really nicely encrypt the password. But what is protected? Where is the key for this? The key is this master key GUID. This master key GUID is really the information about the file. So when we go to the app data, okay, Microsoft, because of course Microsoft is protecting, so protect. This is the seed of my user. This is the default user, so it's this one. And here I have the same identifier as this one. Okay, so that's the file in which I'm looking for the key. This key, of course, is encrypted, and it's encrypted with the password of the user, really from the key that is derived from the password of the user. So if you don't know the password of the user, it will be hard to decrypt this one. If you are in the domain joint environment, you will find out that there is another file in this one that is starting with BK, so Bravo Kilo, and then the name of your domain. This is a second copy of this key that is used for the decryption used by the certificate on the Active Directory. So let me go and show you the script that I was using to decrypt the passwords. I'll run the script, so let's see how it's working again. So I'm getting this information, and this is the username and passwords from the system. I'm not typing anywhere here the passwords. This is because I'm just using this function unprotect from system security cryptography protect data. Protect data means data protection API. And unprotect is using 3 parameters. That's very simple. Encrypted blob, there is an entropy. Entropy is like a second password. It's distinguishing between the applications. So one application cannot decrypt the password by another application. But look at here. It's just an entropy sitting up here. Okay, fun fact. It's here it's the 17 bytes, but the entropy must be 16. And the last byte is 00. This is the end of the string, the null character. So this is why I'm truncating this to the 15, from 0 to 15. So it's 16 bytes of entropy. And then just the scope. Scope is the distinguishing between the current user and the system. Of course, to do this for the system, I need to have higher privileges than user. But any user and any malware that is running in your context, in your security context, will be able to just simply politely ask the system, hey, give me the password in unencrypted form. So this is what I used there. Okay, so this is one of the aspects here, how the attacker, or even maybe your spouse, or maybe your children that are just interested in some hacking, can try to get inside the organization. But there is even easier way if you are looking for something that is extremely easy. And this is not that it's the correct way. This is of course for script kids or whoever is trying to use it, but maybe someone is going to just play around on your network and see, okay, I'm bored. I'm sitting at home, finally working from home, not from office, and maybe I'm bored and I will just see how good my IT security is doing. And there is lots of scripts, etc., that can be used. But I will show you one of the two, and this is showing how easy sometimes it is to compromise unpatched or a little bit more legacy systems. So I'm using Armitage. That is a tool that I can just simply go and say that scans. And let's go with, for example, the quick scan OS detect. Let's type in the IP of the network, 24, boom. It's starting for me the quite complicated syntax for getting the nmap. This is, of course, the version of the DB nmap, so it's already building a database of the attacks. Some of the penetration testing like to use this one on smaller attacks, on smaller networks, because it's making a map of the computers, or and rating all the payloads and external tools that you can use for the attacks. Sometimes it's a little bit slower because it's a Java-based application, so no, I'm not a fan of those. But in general, it will present us very soon in the list of the machines already with detected operating systems. And oh, you see, it's getting the output, okay, and it's suggesting, hey, why not to use this menu? Attacks, find attacks. Okay, why not to use it? Okay, so attacks, find attacks. Okay, oh, there's something very short was going on here. I hope it's going to show it a little bit better. So already see, oh, maybe it was so fast. So getting the attack, and then there is a list of possible attacks that was detected by those for the system. Of course, if I choose another system, there will be a little bit different list of the attacks. For example, there is some MS-SQL attack here, and I can just choose from the menu here how to attack. Sometimes, and for example, for this presentation, I will show you one of the attacks that was quite popular some time ago. And, thank you, NSA, for using this and showing everyone that there is Eternal Blue. Eternal Blue is attack for the SMB, and let me show how easy it is. I'm just choosing the list, selecting on the right side, of course, where I'm attacking, choosing it from the list, clicking on it, and clicking launch. Okay, fire and forget. Now I can rest, relax, drink, get a sip of my drink, and then, of course, waiting for the results of getting there. Why I'm showing SMB-related attack? Because really it's the problem of even the SMP version 3 that was patched recently by Microsoft, that still there are lots of the possible attacks on this kind of protocols, even in the newest version. Right now, there is no exploit publicly available for the newest type of the attack on SMP3, but still, maybe you have some unpatched systems. And let's just simply show you that this is the compromised system. As you can see, the beautiful icon is changing even for this, and we can start interacting with this device and saying, for example, who am I? Okay, this should show me that I'm system. So let's echo hello into the C test.txt. So probably something will be on this Windows 7 machine. Of course, this is Windows 7, it's untouched for the Eternal Blue, but this is quite old attack, as you know. This is 2017. If you have something that is still vulnerable to this kind of attack, better patch it or remove it from the network. So in general, I do not say that the using VPN is a bad thing, but just if you do this very fast, because right now everyone needs to start focusing on the new type of the remote working, it might be posing some additional threats. And you need to focus a little bit more on limiting the access from external users, or maybe doing something like a conditional access or working with the users, giving them a little bit more perspective on how they need to behave and how they need to protect the corporate resources. Okay.